Alright guys, so I'm going to show you guys how to repad 3090, the OEM one that comes in Omen PCs. This one came in the HP Omen PC. When it's at an ambient, when it's in my grow tent with an ambient room temp of 80 degrees, this one will mine 100 hash per second, but the VRAM goes up to 100 degrees Celsius, right? So 100 hash at 100 degrees Celsius. I'm gonna see if I can lower the temperature so I can start hashing at maybe 115. So let's do this. For this particular one, we want to unscrew all the screws. I usually do it in a diagonal. Alright, so once you've unscrewed all of that, I'm going to go over here. I'll lift it up so you can see it. I'll also unscrew this, the metal bracket. So this is what holds the card, this is what holds the graphic card to whether it's your desktop or to your mining rack. So we'll also take these out. There are 4 of them. Take it back out and bring it back in. Alright, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out these 4 so I can lift it. So all the screws around, and then take the back out so you can get that bracket out, and take out these 4, and these are pressured. So what you want to do is you want to do it diagonally on the way out and on the way in, releasing to each side just a bit, like that, right? Now we're gonna lift this up. We should be able to, I hope. And there's a wire where the fan is, so let's do that right there. Alright, so lightly open, 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 open. 2 fans right here. There are 2 fans. Let me get my flashlight for you. Find it. Here it is. Alright, hopefully you can see it. So there are 2 fans right here. Grab it like this and just wiggle it. Alright. So I got that out. I noticed my screws are just flying everywhere, so I want to move it back together. Alright, so I got that out. This part back here, you are going to have, if it's been running for a while, you will have to pry it open. I have this little plastic tool from the toolkit. I'll send you the link. It came with the screw. But I just gotta pry this open slowly. So do it all around the edges. Just take your time. Don't break anything. It's just that it's been a while, so it's sticking through. This one's what you want to do is you want to pry it over, put the pressure onto the metal plate, right? Not on the board. You don't want to break anything. So it should be out. I can feel it loosening up. Just take your time, guys. Expensive equipment. Take your time, please. There we go. There we go. All right. So as you can see, this is, we gotta clean this up, repat it. What I've seen with my last one is this is actually really easy. When you cut it, based on this, the plastic is raised a bit. So what you do is you cut it based on where the marking is. I'll show you in a bit. So this side is easy. It'll cover all of these memory chips right here, and that will be good. And then on this side, same thing, right? Just cut it. It'll be, I believe it is raised slightly, so let me check. It is not. So it is not raised. What you will have to do is, for this side, you have to measure it based on this. You have to cut it, pat it on, and close it. Okay, so the trick with this, after doing my last one, what I've realized is, in order to keep the VRAM cool, you actually have to open this one up, right? So I'm going to do that right now. So this is the backboard. This is the bracket on top of the cooling plate, the copper cooling plate. You got 3 fans back here blowing cool air in, cooling the copper down. The copper makes contact with your GPU, right? It makes contacts and it cools because the GPU stays on top like this. It makes contact and it cools. Now, these memory chips are also touching this metal board, right? It's touching this to cool it down. But the problem with it is this bracket right here, it's actually not touching the copper. And that seems to be the issue with all of the cards that I've seen, all of the cards that I've taken apart. So in order to resolve that, what we do is we open up, there are 5 screws here. So we're gonna do that first and then we'll do the padding later. But you're gonna see a huge difference. So right here. So I'm going to take the 5 screws. There are 5 screws on the side. Don't drop. There you go. And then on the other, that's 2 on that side, and then there's 3 on this side, okay? And remember that when you take it out, when you put it back in, the 4-pin wires where the fan needs to go through those 2 holes. So just remember that. Alright, once you lift it, I'm going to show you right here. Right here. See this one? This does not make flush contact with this, right? So what you're gonna need, you can see there's a little gap in between, you don't need that. But all of this, you're gonna want it to touch. So I'm gonna apply paste to here, and then we're gonna close it. Once we close it, then we'll clean this and repat, okay? But we wanna clean this first. So, here we go. I'm going to also wipe the edges here clean. I heard that some people use copper shims. That also works too. They can stick it into here to make more flush contact, but I've been using just thermal paste, and that seems to work fine. So here's my thermal paste now. I'm going to make, I'm going to spread it on the side, and I can see the edge right here. I don't need to. I'm going to close the inside. I won't need to, but on the outside. So what I'll do is I'll squeeze it on. I'll apply. Actually, let me see if you can see that. Let me move this up a bit. You can see it. So I'll apply that, and I'll apply it here as well. And I'll apply it here as well. And a bit here. And a bit here. Just a bit more here. Some here. Just to make sure we get good contact. Here. Here. Alright? So now what we want to do is take a flat edge and start spreading that out. And remember, you don't need to get the little square on the inside. So I'm just spreading this out. This way, well, once we put it back in and we close it, the chances of this touching the other plate is much, much higher. And that way it can pull the heat from the memory chip. You can pull it onto this copper, which is what you want, because this copper is cooled by 3 fans on the back. This is the fastest way to dissipate heat, transfer heat over to the plate and then just dissipate it. Right, so we want to spread that. Just like that. That's the actual one, so we'll spread it over here. Alright, that's it. Okay. So what we're gonna do now, let me clean this tip off so we can use it later. What we'll do now is we'll put the bracket back on. Right? Just like that. Get the 2 4-pin through. Try to align it back in to position. There you go. Oh, 4-pin through. As you can see now, later when I push this down, when I close that up, it should make flush contact. So I'm gonna close the screw, I'm gonna screw it back in. Yeah, make sure you don't mix your screws. Like I said, if you look at this, these are actually different lengths. So I've done this one a few times, so I know which one to switch. But if you don't, just get a, like I said, get a sheet of paper, please. Draw it, or get some sort of organizer. Just organize the screws. Don't screw the wrong one in. All right. So we got 2 there. I should have cleaned the outside first. I was just so excited to show you guys the inside, because that part was the part where most people cannot get maximum hashes on this OEM, this HP Omen. Whether you're playing video games or whether you're mining, it overheats. The VRAM overheats very quickly. It's because it's not making contact. So I'm so excited to show you that. I should have cleaned the whole card first before applying, but this should be fine. Yeah, I don't think it will pose any major problems. So get these 4 together, right? Alright, now we're gonna clean this and reapply paste. And for this, I've used 2 millimeters before. That doesn't work because if this is too thick, then when you close it, the GPU cannot make contact with this. So I've used 2 millimeters, does not work. 1.5 does not work, and then 1 millimeter works. And I can tell because once you put the paste onto here, and when you close it, if you close it and you open it and it doesn't have this like weird spread, it means that it's not making contact, right? Whatever drop I was putting on there remained that drop, so in that shape. So I knew it was not making contact. So make sure you replace this with 1. Alright, so we wipe that down, so this is good. I'm going to put this aside. I will put it aside over here. Next, what we want to do is this one, right? So this makes contact and this back makes contact. So I'm going to clean all all of this, and then we'll start cutting the paste and putting it back on together. And I'll clean this one too. So. Alright guys, let's do this. So we're gonna have to start on this side first. So what I'll do is, this is the back plate, that's for last. Let me clear this up first. Get all this extra gunk. Throw up in there, alright. I'm gonna move this back up here. So we're gonna have to pat, and then pat this, right, for these small memories right here. And that will do it. So using 1 inch, sorry, 1 millimeter, so, okay, this thin one. Here we go. Alright guys, that is it. Let's go. So we got this over here. This will lay on top like that. And what we're gonna need to do is, so move this up. We'll put thermal paste on here. We'll plug in the fans, and then we'll flip it over, put the 4 screws in, put the top back on, and we should be good to go. And then we can test to see how it runs. So I'm kind of glad this is over. I've been doing so many of these the last 2-3 days. Just really tired of it. It's fun, but at the same time, I'm so tired after working all day. And then doing this, it's just kind of exhausting. But the things we do to mine. Alright. Usually a pea size in the middle is good enough, but I'll actually spread it out a bit too. Hey. Yeah, so when I ran this last time, what I found out was if the pad is too thick and the GPU is not making contact with the copper plate, it will actually shut the computer down right away. The reason being is it can't cool the GPU, and it overheats, so the moment it reads that the GPU is too hot, it will just shut it down. So that's why you don't do anything more than 1, okay? Anything more than 1 millimeters for that. And this graphic card, fortunately, it runs the whole thing is 1. Unlike some of my Gigabyte, that was painful because they had like different thickness. So I had to figure out, because the old pads, when I took them out, they were so old, so I couldn't even measure it. So that was just like a pain for me. Just you test, just to put it in, and then just to try to see if the memory chips were making a dent into here. And if they were, it meant that it was good. If they didn't, it meant that it was bad. So that was just a pain for me personally. Alright, so this one, I pulled it out a bit more. So let's turn this light on so you guys can see. I'm going to flip it over like that. And then I'll turn it on like that. And then I'll try to push this in. This is one of my favorite flashlights. Very, very useful in different situations. I actually use it for hiking. I hike at night. I go camping and hiking at night, and I take this one to $20. My friend gave it to me, but I've been using it for years, and I love it. Absolutely love it. Alright, so I will lay this. Look for the, look for where the screw holes are. Lay it down. Alright, that looks good. Okay, let's screw it back in. Make sure I close my thermal paste so it doesn't dry out. Alright, find where it's at. Push it down. 1. Diagonal. 1. 1. Yeah, you want to make sure it's diagonal, okay? You plug it in diagonally so it doesn't. There we go. So when it goes down evenly. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Alright, now I'm just eyeing it to see which one's down further. This should be good enough. Alright, now just tighten it. There should be enough pressure on there. Yeah, most graphic cards you can install this one first and then the top. The Gigabyte was painful. You had to take this one off too because it overlaps on this. As you can see, these holes are bigger. So it will actually, these holes are bigger. So you can take them off like that. Alright. I'm going to lay this on like that. And then we want to make sure this bracket is back in. I won't forget it, so we'll lay that there. And I will actually start with the 2 over here. So hold it in. 1, 2. I'm going to hold this one in. 1, 2. Alright. I'm going to put another one on this side. 1, 2, 3. Alright guys, so here we go, let's take this out. Fully padded. Now I'm going to add it back to that over there. So I have a 5-card rig over here, all 3080s that run off of that motherboard on the bottom, and then I have 2 over here running out of this computer. This one actually, it's running out of one 750 power unit. The other 2 has double 850s, but this one over here has a Ryzen. I'm also CPU mining. And then those ones are just GPU mining on that board, because I have an Intel on there. Intel are really bad at CPU mining. Okay, so I'm going to shut this computer down. This one right here, I'm going to install it, and then let's see. Remember what I said before? I was hashing at 100 mega hashes per second, and the temperature was around 102 for the VRAM. So let's see if this improves at all. Here we go. Alright guys, so the card is back in. Both of them are in. They've been running for a while, so I'll refresh it for you right here. It's reached, it's stabilized, so it's the mix rig. That's the one that it's sitting in. So as you can see, I'm mining on lights. I can compare it apples to apples. So light 3090, temp is 66, VRAM is 92. This used to be 102, so this actually dropped by 10 degrees. That's phenomenal. So fan, however, fan is spinning at 100. That's because the card is actually really hot. The VRAM cooled down, but I believe what happened was, remember how we put the paste around the VRAM? So what that actually does, I believe, is it transferred more of the memory heat over to the GPU. So what that does is the GPU is actually hotter, right? Because the back plate is absorbing, the copper is absorbing more of the memory heat. So that went up a bit, but still 66 is good. That's not over 70, so I'm fine with that as long as the VRAM is down. But because of that, we can actually push this up. Let's see if we push it up to medium. Where does that get us? So we'll push that up to medium. I'll just give it a second, let it run. I'm actually refreshing on a different rig. I'm on my 3080s rig, because every time if you're testing it and you're using a browser on the same rig that you're testing, it actually lowers the hash. So I want to make sure I'm checking it on a different one. So let's see. So that is weird. At medium, the fan actually drops down. VRAM temp is still the same, but the card is getting hotter. So let's see what happens. Let's refresh it. See if the card is going up to 70. That is crazy. So the card goes up to 70. VRAM is 96, which is still very low. But I'm hashing 15 more, so that's incredible. So let's refresh it one more time. Yeah, I think it's stabilizing at 70, so I'm fine with that. Yeah, so in the last few days, I've been able to repad pretty much every card that I needed to repad. So yeah, that's it, guys. This repad has been successful. As you can see, my VRAM dropped from 102 down to 96. Not only did it drop, but I'm able to hash even more. So I have a cooler memory junction temperature, but at the same time, I'm able to hash 15 more. I'm sure I can push this up to high, but not worth it. Medium is good enough. So now, as you can see, all of my cards are mining at medium, and the temperatures are all very, very good. Temperatures are all good. I got all of my 3090s mining at 115, and then all of my 3080s mining at 95 to 96, right, at medium. This one is low because this is where this monitor is connected to. This monitor right now is connected to a 3080, and because I keep hitting refresh, that's why it drops the hash. As you can see, it's starting to climb up right here. So it'll climb back up when I don't refresh, but as long as I refresh, it will drop it because I'm using the monitor. Yeah, for this one, I'll have to keep an eye on this one. It looks like the temp is going up. So maybe add more fans to it. I don't know. Move it around. But 71, I'll look into it. I don't think 71 is worrisome. But if it is, I'll put it back to light. As long as you can see, light is already mining much lower. The VRAM's already 10 degrees lower. So this is definitely a success for me. Yeah, drop a comment down below if you have any questions, anything you'd like me to go over, anything you'd like me to expand on. Otherwise, if you find this video helpful, please like and subscribe, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.